Check this out.
Do you ever wonder how a publisher comes up with your advance? Well, most traditional publishers, including some of the bigger independent publishers, will use what's called a profit and loss statement to come up with your advance. Now, this profit and loss statement actually includes a lot of information, so I want to go through that with you so that you can understand how to best prepare yourself when you're getting ready to work with an agent or editor, because it really determines how they position your book. The first part of this conversation is the book. A lot of times a publishing professional will say, what is the comp titles for your book? Comp titles are basically comparison titles. It helps them to determine how you fit in the marketplace. This is why it's super important to know books 3 to 5 years old and no older that would be the same audience that you write for. This is what the publisher is going to use to figure out how your book might sell. With publishers specifically, most of them have some internal system that they use. When the editor comes and says, I love this book, I want to make an offer on it, the publisher will come back and say, well, what are the comp titles? What are the books that we want to kind of model this book after? What are the formats? Do these books sell good in hardcover, trade paperback, mass market, ebook? Because each of those formats is going to have a different price. And they're going to use this comp title, whichever is the closest to the book that you write or the closest to the author, that you can be compared to. They're going to pop in numbers for the price of those formats, which formats would be best for your book. Another important number on this profit and loss statement is also the amount of copies they think they're going to sell. Again, this is why the comp titles are super important, because they're either going to reach out to other publisher friends or they're going to go on what's called BookScan to find the sales numbers for these comp titles that you and or your agent or the editor who has acquired you have given them. So what they'll do is they'll put that number in, the amount of total gross sales, just to give the system a number to base off of. The reason why this is important is because most publishers will have formed numbers already in the system. What do those numbers look like? Oh, well, for a trade paperback book, for a commercial book, they go work into 16s if your book is going to be in print. They'll say, all right, if your book is 204 pages, this is approximately how much it's going to cost to produce those pages, to print up those books. This is how much for this particular type of book that we might spend in marketing, advertising, in the warehouse. They have all these costs that have already been populated into the system. So when the editor comes in and says, we think we can sell this many formats at this price point over this amount of time, over these many copies, the system will spit out a number. The two important numbers that the editor and publisher are looking at that the system is going to spit out is the total amount earned for the book. Once all these costs have been determined and these estimated sales have been determined, they're going to say, how much do we stand to make based on these costs? And on that number, the system, if it is a more advanced system, would even break it down to a potential author advance, how much the publisher would stand to earn once all the money is paid out, all the money to produce your book, to advertise your book, to edit your book, all those costs are going to be in there, as well as the advance. Now, basically, if they work backwards and say, we'll make $70,000 on this project, once all costs have come out, then that'll show them this is how much we can offer the author while also making money. I know a lot of you get super frustrated when you hear comp titles. This is why comp titles are important, because the publisher and editor are really using these other books in the marketplace to determine the kind of numbers they think you will do, so that they can see, here's how much money we stand to make, here's how much we can offer the author without kind of shooting ourselves in the foot. And so for you as the author, An advance is amazing. However, please don't forget, an advance is just that. They're advancing you on how much they think you can sell. So before you earn royalties, you have to earn that back and understand you're not earning the full percentage, 100% of the sales price. You've got to pay all those costs back. Your percentage might be 25%, 10%, 8% of the retail price. So that's how much is going towards the advance to knock it down until you hit royalties. But this is just an overall view of how a comp title is used to provide information to the publisher in order for them to come up with your advance. Did this help to explain some of your questions about advances and how a publisher comes up with the money that they determine that they're going to pay you for your book? Now, of course, the number, it may spit out something else. Your book might be really hot. It might go to auction and that might drive up the price. So they'll actually end up paying more than what that system spits out. Because the publishers are paying so much upfront to produce your book, they're going to really try to stay close to a number where they don't end up overpaying. So this way, if you do make more money or the book is more successful, everybody wins because they didn't overpay and you have the opportunity to earn that back so that you can make royalties and have some form of residual income. I want to take a moment to shout out Mrs. TBRBS. She is actually the person who requested this video to explain advances and how publishers come up with that number. Thank you so much for engaging with our content. I hope you found this video useful. For any of you out there who are looking for other topics for me to cover, please comment below or DM us. I'm more than happy to come up with a video that might address any of your publishing questions or concerns. As always, thank you so much for watching.